Johnny Harris has a rare editing language, part National Geographic, coffee table book, and travel blog. But what makes his edits feel so addictive are how tactile they feel. Every photo moves, every transition breathes, and every shot has texture. A lot of people think you can only achieve this type of editing in After Effects, DaVinci, or Premiere Pro, and that's just not true. So here are 5 simple editing secrets to instantly level up your edits and help you make more cinematic, story-driven edits, just like his. So let's start with one of the biggest problems us editors face: boring photos. You drag your photo onto your timeline and it just sits there, flat, boring, uninteresting. That is not Johnny Harris. But watch this. With just a couple of keyframes, some blur, and a sound effect, you can make it feel like that photo is coming to life through a lens. Here's how you do it. Make sure that your photo fills the screen. Then make sure that the scale is 105%. We can then go to the very beginning of our timeline and add a transform keyframe. Then, using the arrow key on your keyboard, toggle 5 frames forward. You can see how many frames you've toggled forward right here. Let's go ahead and add another transform keyframe. On this second keyframe, I'm going to drag my clip all the way to the top so it snaps into place. I'm going to toggle back to my first keyframe and drag it down so it snaps into place. What you'll now see when I play between my keyframes is that we've created a slide up effect. The second thing we need to do is go to our effects and search for blur. By scrolling down a bit, you'll find this one right here called blur. Go ahead and drag that onto your timeline and trim that blur effect to end where that second keyframe is. We're then going to add 2 keyframes, one at the very beginning and one at the end of that clip. At the end keyframe, go ahead and turn that down to 0, and at the beginning, make it 25. Now you'll see when we scrub through our timeline, we have a blurry photo that slides up and then becomes in focus. There are so many more principles to Johnny's editing that I couldn't include in this video. Things like pacing, cut types, shot selection, music, and more. That's why I created CapCut Lab, which is the fastest and best way for you to learn these editing fundamentals. If you like what you're seeing here, you like the way I teach, and you want to learn more to have a competitive edge over other editors, go ahead and check out CapCut Lab. It's in the description. But the simple slide up is only the beginning, and there is some real magic that you can do with just a few more steps. Firstly, let's go ahead and copy this clip by clicking Command or Control C. Go ahead and highlight those other clips and click Command Alt V. Then we can go ahead and click Paste. This is going to paste that keyframe so all of our photos have the same motion up, just like that. We can also go ahead and copy our blur and paste that at the beginning of all of those clips. Then what you're going to do is select on each of these photos, right-click and say Create Compound Clip. We're then going to add some subtle motion to create a really nice effect. So go to the beginning of the timeline on that first photo, add a transform keyframe, click your down arrow on your keyboard, and add another transform keyframe at the end of this clip. Then on this end keyframe, go ahead and set your scale to 110 and drag that photo to which area you want to focus on. With the Sphinx being on the left, I'm going to drag it slightly towards the left. Now when I play from the beginning of my timeline, we have that slide up and a slow zoom in to our area of focus. Lastly, go back to Effects, search Blur, and then find Chrome Blur. We're going to drag that onto our timeline and drag it over our entire photo. Turn your lateral chromatic aberration down to around 53. And you can see that that's added some cool chromatic blur onto our image, but it's not focused on the right area. So let's go to Mask, Add Mask, and create a circle mask. Then drag that circle over the area that you want to focus on, and we can enlarge that slightly. We're then going to add a few points of feathering and hit the reverse button. You can now see that the Sphinx is the only thing that's in focus. When I play that, we've created a wonderful blur effect that now allows our photo to feel alive. If you want to retime your clip, go ahead and drag that second keyframe by selecting it and dragging it to the point that you want to cut. We can then go ahead and cut on that keyframe, and we've essentially shortened our clip. You can go ahead and apply the same chrome blur and copy the attributes from our first clip to our second clip. On our second keyframe, let's say we wanted to focus on the right here. Instead of leaving it on the left, we could just change the position while selected on that keyframe, and you'll see that we now zoom in to the right. I'm sure you've heard about Opus Clip. It takes a long-form video and generates amazing short-form videos from it. They've just launched some brand new features that turn it more into a growth engine, an all-in-one video editor. And as editors, I'd like to show you these. So either you upload your video or take an existing video from YouTube or other sites, and Opus Clip will automatically clip it. Then once it's clipped your video, the new magic happens. You have full customization with features like a full editor. You can remove filler words, pauses, you can add speech enhancement. You can also auto add AI B-roll or stock B-roll to your short form video, emojis, and so much more. For the growth engine part, you can then take all of those short form videos that it's created and schedule them to auto upload on a given date and time. So Opus Clip takes a ton of that manual work that you'd be doing, like the editing, the captions, the B-roll, the uploading to YouTube, and it automates it. So if you'd like to try Opus Clip, which I recommend you do, you get a free sign up, which is incredible. No obligations, free sign up. But if you decide that you love it, it fits in your workflow and you'd like to pay for it, do it this month because it's Cyber Month and they're offering 50% off your first month or 65% off when you move to an annual pro plan. Back to the video. So that's the way documentary editors like Johnny Harris bring boring, flat photos to life. But what about bad quality photos? We don't always have access to great quality photos or resources, and there's a secret that documentary editors employ to fix this. If I go ahead and zoom into this photo, you can see how pixelated that photo is, much like our second one as well. We don't want to show this pixelation, so there's two secret tricks that you can do. Number one is select on your photos and in your video and basic section, select enhance quality. Then at level, go ahead and change that to AI HD. Now when I zoom into my photo, you can see how high quality that is. Turning it off, there's the pixelation from before, and turning it on, it's enhanced the entire photo. And we've achieved the same effect on our second photo. Here's the before, and here's the after. But what if we didn't want to actually AI enhance the quality of that photo and we wanted to give it an old style feel? I'm going to go ahead and turn off enhance quality to get our photo back to its original state. Then go to your web browser and search Texture Labs. When you're on Texture Labs, search for halftone, and I really like Grunge 340, which is this first one here. Simply by clicking it, you can then download the extra large version, and you can see here that this is free for commercial use, meaning you'll get no copyright issues. Once you've downloaded that file, go ahead and drag it onto CapCut. We can then change the blend mode of that texture to one of three things: hard light, overlay, or soft light. Now all of these subtly change the way that that texture interacts with our photo, and I find using one of these three generally works best. For this case, I like the effect that hard light gives. There is one issue as our texture extends over that photo. So I'm going to go to uniform scale, turn this off, and then drag my widths slightly closer together to perfectly fit our photo. Now when we zoom into our photo, you'll see that we've placed a wonderful texture over it. Turning it off, we have that horrible pixelation, and turning it back on, it almost looks like an old-time scan photo, which justifies that it wouldn't be the best quality. We can then compound those clips together by selecting them and selecting Alt-G and have full ability to reframe and move this around together. So one of the things that Johnny and other documentary editors do all the time is they bring attention to specific words that they mention or points that they're trying to drive. And there's a really fun and cool way to do this in CapCut. With our article on our timeline, I'm going to go to Media, Library, and scroll down until I find this yellow one right here, and drag that onto my timeline. Then extend it over the article. I'm going to increase the scale of that yellow background so that it covers the words I want to highlight. Go to Blend and turn that down to 50%. Then, still selected on your yellow background, go to Mask, Add Mask, and select the pen tool. We can then drag around the words that we want to highlight. And don't worry about making straight lines, because the more jaggedy your lines are, the more realistic your highlight effect will be. Once you've finished with your mask, add 1 point of feathering and see if there's any areas that you need to change. You can always change the points of the mask by going back to mask and then simply dragging these little dots. But I think we did a pretty good job on our first time. Go back to basic, go to blend, and increase your opacity to 100%. Then on your yellow background, go ahead and compound that layer, go to mask, add mask, and select split. We can then drag that split mask to 90 degrees and then add 15 points of feathering. At the beginning of that layer, I'm going to go ahead and drag that mask all the way to the left so that we don't see any of that highlight. I'm then going to create a mask setting keyframe, then drag a few frames ahead on our timeline and create another mask setting keyframe. This time I'm going to drag that line all the way to the right. Now when I play my timeline, you'll see that that highlight effect happens perfectly. However, I think this has taken a bit too long, so I can drag that second keyframe closer to my first one, and that looks a lot more realistic. Then selected on my compound clip, I'm going to go to blend, go to mode, and change this to multiply. You'll see that it's made it look like our highlight is now integrated on the page. We also don't have a perfectly smooth highlight, so this more emulates what it would look like if someone was actually highlighting this in real life. Then what we have to do is select on our clip and select Alt-K or Option-K on Mac. On position X, I'm going to go ahead and select that straight line, go to my preset graphs and select cubic out. Zooming into my timeline, I have the option to manipulate this curve, which is exactly what I'm going to do. You don't necessarily have to do this, this is just if you want a more professional feel. I'm going to select on this first dot and drag it closer to the beginning of that layer. I'm then going to select on the second line and drag this dot slightly down just like that. Our highlight now starts quickly and slows down as it reaches its endpoint. We can then go ahead and select Option K again to hide that keyframe animator, select both of our layers and make them a compound clip. Then if you want to add some animation, stay selected on your layer and find one called Distort Left or Distort Right. Go ahead and select one of those, and you can now see we've added this very cool animation to our layer. This next one will literally make your viewer's brains light up. It's called match cutting on text, and it's perfect for documentaries. Here's the idea. You flash documents, notes, and screenshots, but one word stays locked on exactly in the center. To the brain, it's like chaos is swirling around that idea, and that's insanely powerful. With your document, screenshot, or note on your timeline, you can go ahead and zoom it in and frame that word that you want to focus on into the center. Then what we're going to do is go to these three lines, go to guides and rulers, and add a horizontal guide, go back to it, and add a vertical guide. This is going to give us our exact center point. Then all it takes is finding that exact word that you want to focus on and placing it in the center. Because I'm using the same document, I'm going to go ahead and create a cut point, and on my second layer here, I'm going to go ahead and find the word Egypt again. If this was another document, you'd go ahead and frame and size Egypt exactly the same as you did for this. A secret tip is to have each layer or each clip get sequentially shorter. So our first clip is 21 frames. If I zoom in here, our second clip is 15 frames, then 10 frames, and you get the point. Simply by trimming off a couple frames from each clip, you create a cool ramp in speed effect. Then to create that highlight effect, we're going to go to our media bin, go to library, scroll down until you find one of the yellow options and drag that onto your timeline. We can then go to uniform scale, turn that off, and make sure that that covers our word Egypt. Go to your blend, go to mode, and select multiply. By going back to my three lines, guides and rulers, and then clear guides, you can see we've created this match cut on text effect. But maybe you've noticed the problem. The version that I showed you right now is significantly different to the version in the reference, and that's because we're missing one thing: texture. Now this is the secret sauce to all of Johnny Harris's videos. He adds texture to pretty much everything, and there's four main textures that I want to discuss with you right now. The first one is audio. Johnny uses sound design on all of his transitions, and let me show you how to do that. In the audio tab, go ahead and select sound effects and search for tick. We're then going to find this one right here, switch sound, tick, and drag that onto our timeline. Go ahead and place that wherever we have a new image pop up. On all of your text, go ahead and drag a texture, go ahead and scale that over your whole image, and change its blend mode to either multiply or overlay. In this case, multiply works a lot better, and you can see that our match cut on text now has some texture. Like we did with our images, I'm going to add chrome blur to our match cut on text and focus exactly on the word Egypt. And lastly, to add some dynamism on your images and text scenes, go to Media, Library, find the plain white background, drag that onto your timeline, then simply go to Effects, search for Noise, find Black Noise, and drag and drop that and extend that over your white background. Then what we're going to do is select Black Noise, go to Basic, turn that speed down to 0, compound our black noise layer and white layer together, and change our blend mode to darken. You can then go ahead and play with your opacity. Now when I play that scene, you'll see some noise embedded within our video. You can copy this compound clip and place that over whichever scene you like. For instance, in this scene here, our black noise is more profound. And on top of our article, you can see that that black noise also has a really nice effect. If you've made it this far, I can tell that you take your editing seriously, and you're exactly who I made CapCut Lab for. People who want an edge, who want to learn fast and be the best at CapCut. So check it out, it may interest you, and it's a link in the description.